My husband and I don't qualify as a family. This happened several years ago, but it still angers me when I think about it. I, 30 female, attended a police function with my husband, 31 for his work. It was a family function where everyone was welcome to bring their children. There were family photo opportunities where you could pose in front of police vehicles, etc. My husband and I were sitting next to our friends and their children. We were playing with the kids and talking with our friends. Suddenly, an older police wife comes over to my friend and says that she is taking pictures of all the families and would like to take one of her husband, and her children. She was making some kind of album or slideshow or something with all the PD's family pictures. I don't remember the specifics. Well, she's moving down the row getting pictures of all the families and then gets to my husband and I. She pointedly looked at me and my husband, who are child free, looked us up and down, and then moved right down the row, skipping us. Apparently not having children while already married for 7 years makes us not a family in her eyes. To say I was pissed was an understatement, but I unfortunately froze in the moment. Although I have experienced judgment due to our lack of procreation, I didn't realize that some people don't consider us a family. Has this ever happened to you? It's a super rude to automatically assume that a childless couple don't qualify as a family, or to make any assumptions about a childless couple at all. You can't tell from looking at a couple if they are voluntarily child-free, if they are on their 6th miscarriage, or if their only child just died of cancer and this is the first time they've felt okay enough to go back out in public. It's really time for questions like why don't you have children to start being viewed as a tacky and tasteless thing to ask. I've started doing similar things, especially to virtual strangers. I had a woman at church comment to me about when my boyfriend and I would get married and start having babies. So I pretended to tear up and said, "I can never have children." She had a look of horror in her eyes as she moved away from me and never spoke to me again. It's true. I can't. Have you met those demons? They are revolting. It's really time for questions like why don't you have children to start being viewed as a tacky and tasteless thing to ask. You just motivated me to really go all in. Should I get such questions? Like stupid counter questions like, did you know how likely miscarriages can be? Or going all teary-eyed and asking why someone would remind people of personal losses. I had some Jehovah's Witnesses stop by my house. I was about 25 and they asked where my children were. I started crying and told them the devil cursed me to be barren. They left pretty quickly. That's great. I have done similar, particularly when I was on a medication that made me bloated in the abdomen. I'm pretty thin elsewhere, so it was more noticeable. And several nosy old ladies felt the need to ask if I was pregnant. The first time I was so shocked I couldn't say anything. But the next time I said, no. And in fact I can't have children. Make it awkward. Make them squirm. I don't know why so many people run into this but not me. Is it a cultural difference maybe? Where are you from? The most people have asked is, are you a mom on Mother's Day? I didn't care, I just said something to the effect of hell no. Thank God, nobody ever asks if I have kids. If somebody said something as small as so why don't you have kids yet, I'd bite their head off and leave the entrails behind. Simply for implying I should do anything traditional. It really disturbs me. The idea of giving birth. The idea of needing to nurture a child. Because it's associated with my gender. It's so weird though because I actually can be really caring and I'm really good with kids. I just loathe all the things I see come from nuclear families: child abuse, domestic violence, rape, emotional abuse, destroying children's minds for years. Because parenting is hard and most people underestimate it, and do a bad job. It's like, tradition is my true arch nemesis. I really do pity people who blindly fall in line with it because they don't know what else to do. I love jabbing back at people with opinions like that. I love making them feel stupid. Do you think I'm mean? Do you think this makes me scary? What unrealistic things in movies bug the hell out of you? They remove headrests from cars so you can see the actors better. What is something unrealistic that you often see in movies that annoys the hell out of you? Turning on the TV and what they needed to hear is on TV in the right channel at the right time. People climbing through ductwork to get in between rooms. Most ducts are not big enough for a person to fit in. Attorneys pacing around during a trial and attorneys approaching the judge without asking. My personal favorite is when a new, damning piece of evidence or witnesses is presented in the middle of trial to the complete surprise of the opposing party. Like, sorry buddy, but discovery deadline was a month ago. You should know this. Women waking up and going to sleep with a full face of makeup. Walking up to a microphone and it squeals feedback. Always. In reality, that shouldn't happen unless the sound person is a moron.
It only happens when the person speaking is awkward or had something really lame to say.
Whenever someone is working on a vehicle, they are quite often using a pipe wrench or huge crescent wrench. Neither are going to get you too far working on a vehicle. It only happens when the person speaking is awkward or had something really lame to say. Whenever someone is working on a vehicle, they are quite often using a pipe wrench or huge crescent wrench. Neither are going to get you too far working on a vehicle. Laugh my out. Yeah, and no matter what job they are supposedly doing, it requires sliding under the car on a creeper directly in the middle. So the viewers only see their legs at first when the other characters come in and start talking to them. Constantly turning ratchets but never producing any bolts or old parts to show for it.